Huskers. We're joined now by Husker Online, Sean Callahan. Sean, let's start with Dylan Raiola. I mean, this kind of came out of nowhere, it felt like, at least this week or maybe late last week. When did Nebraska get back and play with Dylan, and how did this all unfold to even let this be possible, Sean?
Yeah, it's been quite a week. I think as we turn the page to Monday morning, I'm not sure we were really expecting it all to unfold so quickly, but something obviously happened at Georgia. They had an in-home visit with the Raiolas the week before, and whatever discussions happened, all of a sudden things changed with his commitment and how he viewed things with the University of Georgia. And the next thing you know, Nebraska still continued to keep in touch. I mean, and they obviously are, because his uncle's on the coaching staff and his family. And the next thing you know, this thing has moved to where he's going to be in for his official visit this weekend. And he's been having communication and contact, evidently, with some players on the team already. So that's why in recruiting, you just never know. I mean, that's why good recruiters like Coach Bush over the years, you keep relationships with the kids no matter what, because things can always happen. And in this case, obviously, here we are a week before signing day, and it looks like Nebraska could not only end up with one five-star quarterback, but there's a chance they get two.
How would Raiola, a verbal commitment, enhance Nebraska's recruiting class from a ranking standpoint?
It's unknown what kind of bump it's going to do in the rankings, but there's no doubt they'll move up spots when you had a five-star quarterback like that. I mean, he'd be one of the highest-ranked recruits Nebraska's ever landed. I believe Mario Lucky from the grade 05 recruiting class is still the highest-ranked guy Nebraska's landed in the online rankings era. But he would be right up there with one of the best that the Huskers have ever gotten. And just the profile he would give them for recruiting in the future. When you have a guy like that on the roster, there's going to be a lot of other players that he could attract because of his relationships with players around the country.
Sean, a lot of Husker fans, again, are excited about all the news of the week, but there's also people that kind of have a little fear saying, is it too good to be true to get potentially both Dylan Raiola and Kyle McCord, the Ohio State transfer? Sean, your opinion, is it too good to be true, or is it possibly true to get both those guys?
Well, that's where Matt Rule has to come in and kind of sell a situation and how this is going to work. But Kyle McCord was here this week, left yesterday. All reports are that it went very well, and I think now it's a matter of just waiting for him to make an announcement. Or if something were to change, is he going to take another visit? That would be a bad sign. So what will come out of that McCord camp? Will he make an announcement here in the coming days or hours that he's picking Nebraska, and then Raiola comes to town, and I think that's a formality that he's going to pick Nebraska. But I think you can sell it like this. Like, look, you've got a veteran guy that can start next year. He's an 11-game Big Ten winner. Dylan Raiola can still play up to 4 games, and you go from there. I mean, I think it's a dream scenario if you can pull that off and have both those guys come in and really change the face of this offense.
Sean, Bill Bush, question for you. It appears, we don't hear anything else, we were talking to Steve Sipple about this, was that there's no other options for McCord. What are the options? Because no one hears of anything else, of any other trips or anything else going. Is there anything that's real?
Well, the only other things you had heard were Syracuse and Rutgers. And those were, his dad played at Rutgers, and Syracuse has got a new coaching staff. But again, I don't think that those schools can offer the stage that McCord really probably is desiring, a great place to, like Nebraska, like Ohio State, or the NIL compensation. I mean, there's just, so it all depends on what he wants. I'm sure you can find a lot of places if he's willing to play on a smaller stage and probably not receive as much NIL. But I think Nebraska has really marked their territory in those categories. And you're right, Coach. I mean, there hasn't really been a true threat that's emerged where, all of a sudden out of nowhere, Pete Nakos from On3 or someone's reporting Kyle McCord now set to visit school X. Like, that hasn't happened. So I would say that's a very good sign at this point for Nebraska.
We'll find out today. By the way, along those lines, all right, what is the timeline here? What are the key dates as we look at the portal and players making moves?
Well, signing day next week does not apply at all to the portal guys.
Okay.
In fact, Kyle McCord could commit to Nebraska today. That doesn't mean anything until he gets here on January 22nd, attends classes, and takes part in the team activity.
Oh, boy.
Until he gets here and takes part in a team activity in a class, everything's non-binding with a transfer portal guy. So January 22nd is the true date. Now, the team will report back to Lincoln January 14th on a Sunday, the week before the first day of classes. So that's the key thing to kind of watch, get them locked in, and then get them here on campus to begin things is really the day. The semester is later. I would say it's probably 2 weeks later starting than it used to be back when guys like Jake and I and Sippy, when we were in school here.
Yeah.
So it's a later starting. I mean, we used to go to school the week before Martin Luther King Day. Now they start a week after Martin Luther King Day. So it's an advantage as well as far as giving yourself time, and if you're scrambling to maybe add some transfer guys and get them on campus.
Sean, what do you think was bigger for On3 subscriptions? Would it be the Raiola / McCord or the signing of Steve Sipple?
Oh, that goes without saying.
Which one?
We got the world-class knife fighter here, Coach Bush.
I know that. We got that. When we have a song we're going to play later, we have a song.
We don't. No, we don't.
I just want to know that would happen. So that was a big thing. I know that On3 has taken off since Sipple took over. And then this thing with Raiola and McCord at the same time is remarkable. And so I just want to know if the hysteria is what we think it is.
Any business around Nebraska football. And I was telling Sippy, a guy like Trev Alberts, he's got to be doing cartwheels right now because he's got to sell this thing to the people.
Mm-hmm.
In the 5-7 year, with a bunch of close, tight losses, wasn't going to help raise money and excitement for the program. There's a lot of it. I mean, for a team that went 5-7, all of a sudden having this happen this week, I was joking on the air. It's almost better they didn't make the bowl game to kind of muddy the waters to make you think, hey, let's try to make this all work with the current quarterbacks and what we're doing. It's allowed them to kind of close the book, turn the page, and here we are with this exciting situation that could play out, which, 2 5-star quarterbacks in a week on a team that's never signed a 5-star quarterback in its history. But Tommy Frazier, that was pre-rankings era. He might have been a 5-star in that era, obviously. But in the online era, which really began in about 2000, they've never gotten a 5-star quarterback, and they get 2 in a week.
Before I let you go, Sean, are there other names, again, 1 week till signing day because the portal is open still, but are there other names you are tracking that you feel good about Nebraska's chances at beyond these quarterbacks?
Well, Julian Fleming obviously is on campus this weekend, Raiola, and then they've got a transfer coming in from a smaller school with 3 years of eligibility, Bly Hill from St. Francis in Pennsylvania. It's an FCS program, 6'3" defensive back. He will be on campus this weekend as well as an official visitor. So those are the only visitors as of right now. It's been an extremely quiet December as far as volume of visitors, but as you know, the quality is pretty high right now with 3 5-star visitors of the 4 visitors coming.
Yeah, not bad. Sean, always good stuff. Thanks for the time. We will chat with you again next week.
Thanks, guys.